Can you be more effective at time management? I hate that phrase of time management. You really can't manage time. Let's just face it. You can't take 20 minutes of time and shove it in a jar and bury it in your backyard and use that 20 minutes later on. So I don't like the concept of time management. I like managing your energy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. If you are a business owner, if you're a family business owner, if you're involved in a family business at all, this show is for you, teaching you the principles of being time wealthy and creating a time wealthy advantage. So, what is the best energy of your day? I get this question quite often when I often get introduced as a time management expert when I'm getting ready to walk on any sort of stage. And I get that. When you write a book called The Time Wealthy Investor, when you're working on a book called The Time Wealthy Advantage, people tend to think and label you as a time management expert. I will tell you, I am no expert when it comes to managing time. I am, however, pretty darn good at managing my energy. And how I came up with this topic is because it is near the end of my workday, and I am getting ready to wrap things up. And I should have done this video earlier on because I've had a pretty long week. It's been a good week, but it's been a lot. It's been a lot emotionally, and generally my best energy is in the early part of the day. Generally, the earlier the better, especially if I've got enough rest. But I like it early. I love starting my workday before the sun even comes up. That's just one of my favorite things to do, is show up before the sun has even gotten up. So for me, that's my best energy of the day. But it's interesting that I get a lot of people who start to think, well, they waste that best energy of their day. And some people say, well, no, I really come alive at night. That's when I get most of my work done. Okay, that may be when you get a lot of your work done, but are you really as effective? Honestly, are you really as effective at working at night than you could be if you were fresh and actually working during the day? And maybe your better time is in the later afternoon, or maybe it's better after lunch. Maybe for me, it's best. I'm really, really good until about 1 or 2 o'clock. If I've worked from, let's say 7, and I work until about 1 or 2, those are my best energy hours. They're just truly the best. After that, things start to go down. I'm not as creative. I'm not as quick on my feet. I just tend to just not be as good, just not as effective, which again, I think that is knowing that about myself. I always try to get my most important tasks done early in the day. If I'm procrastinating and waiting on stuff, and generally I'm just waiting to make that phone call, I'm waiting to make that, that client interaction that I don't really want to have, generally it doesn't get any better once I'm fatigued and once I'm tired. So getting and starting to think about that, going back to those people who often say, no, when it's 11:30 or 12:30 at night, I that's when I get all my work done and everything else. And that may be true for you. That may be true. However, I want to ask you something, and I really want you to be honest. Is it because you've procrastinated so long all day that you have no choice but to get it done at the end of the night? And now you're engaging in not just you've engaged in work procrastination, but now you're engaging in sleep procrastination, where everything that comes up is even more important than the last thing that you just did, right? Think about that and be really honest with yourself. And that's when you start to really hone in on the 5 elements of emotional intelligence, which are, again, the number 1, first and foremost, is self-awareness. Now, the other 4, wouldn't do that. I wouldn't open a window and not close it for you. But again, you've got self-awareness and self-regulation. Those things run hand in hand. You can't regulate, you can't control what you're not aware of, right? So you've got to be self-aware, and then you've got to have some self-regulation. And sometimes that self-awareness comes with asking others from the outside to say, do you really think I'm as effective at 11:30 at night as I am at 8:30 in the morning, after assuming that you've had a good night's sleep? And listen and be open to the responses. Maybe you're not as effective at 8:30 because you've only gotten 5 hours worth of sleep, right? And maybe you're not that effective at 8:30 because the stuff that you're doing at 8:30 is work that no one should be doing, right? Especially not at 8:30. And what do I mean by no one should be doing? Checking Facebook, checking TikTok videos. You're just kind of waking up, right? And even worse is doing the mundane tasks rather than the important tasks. Like, oh, well, let me check my emails and let me go have some conversations that are not really, that are not really directed. I'm just going to kind of figure out my day as I go, versus the night before having what I call a daily five. And my daily five are going to be maximum of five very specific things that I'm going to do that day, that I'm going to do the next day. So I'm coming up with my daily five. So if it's a Thursday, I'm coming up with my daily five. Again, it's a maximum of five things that I'm going to do that on Friday. Okay, so I'm already planning my next day in advance. Now, 3 I think is optimal for most people, but I say 5 because sometimes we just have other things that we like to do, and that eliminates having that to-do list of 79 items. Because remember, I want you to think about this: having too many priorities has the same effect of having no priorities. So consider that. Consider that when you're trying to manage the best energy of your day. So I'm going to land the plane on this, keep this to be a short video, but think about that. Think about when your actual best energy is, when your best mental energy is, and then start thinking about the things that you really, really need to do to move the needle on a specific goal. On a specific goal that's in alignment with maybe a weekly goal, and that weekly goal should be in alignment with a monthly goal. That monthly goal should be in alignment with a 90-day project, and that 90-day project should be in alignment with a 1-year goal and a 3-year goal. So all of that stays in alignment. So how do you think of that? Well, you can just reverse engineer it. Start with your 36-month goal and make that 36-month goal, make it like a stretch. Make it a little uncomfortable. Make it like, man, if I were to hit that 36-month goal, my life would vastly change. Like make it uncomfortable. That 1-year goal, make it a little bit more pragmatic. And the reason why I say that is because in my experience of coaching people, I will tell you this, and let me show you a little bit of self-awareness here, that in my own experience, I tend to vastly overestimate what I can accomplish in 1 year and vastly underestimate what I can accomplish in 3. So make that 3-year goal a little crazy. Like, go nuts with it. Like, if you were to hit those numbers, wow, how crazy would that be? But make your 1 year a little bit more pragmatic, because you're going to learn. By the end of that 1 year, you've learned a lot. And that way you're not so harsh on yourself. That way you allow yourself a little bit of learning, a little bit of grace, and you go, okay, yeah, now I figured that out, right? It's like kind of leveling up on the video game when you actually stop for just a second. Rather than just hit a bunch of buttons, you actually go, wait a minute, what happens if I do A, B, B, A, right? Like, again, I don't know how they play video games anymore, but what if I did this code, this thing in this combination, and you're just learning, right? You're allowing yourself to take the hits, because later on you're just learning how things are working. And that's exactly how it works. Allow those first 90-day projects, and growth doesn't happen linearly. It never happens that way. It happens geometrically, right? It happens exponentially, where you might have 1 the first quarter, and then 3 the second quarter, and then by the third quarter you're at 9, and then by quarter 4, by Q4 you're at 25, right? Growth always happens that way. It always happens exponentially. It very, very, very seldom happens linearly. So think about that for a second when you're organizing the best energy of your day, and organize your best energy of your day around the very specific things on your daily 5, the very specific things that are going to move the needle towards your 3-year vision, your 1-year vision, your 90-day projects, your monthly goals, your weekly goals, and that is your daily 5. All right, everybody, that is all I have for today. If you are looking for more content like this, I don't post everything that I do here on the YouTube, so head over to strategicboardroom.com. I've got some free downloads and some stuff like that. Also, check the notes, check the description for some other stuff that may be helpful for you, and you can see how different areas of your business can be improved. All right, have a great rest of your day. See you next time.